Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first day after the fourth Bitcoin halving. Very, very exciting times, and we have some really special guests with us today. And I'm going to give them all a chance to introduce themselves at this point. Starting with Julio.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm Julio Moreno. I work at CryptoQuant. I'm the head of research in CryptoQuant. CryptoQuant is an on-chain data and analytics provider. And I joined CryptoQuant 2 years ago, and I've been, analyzing like Bitcoin since maybe 2018. My background is in commodity research, so when I heard about Bitcoin, I started to analyzing it from a commodity perspective, and then just posted on Twitter my analysis. And luckily, the CEO and founder of CryptoQuant, Ki Young Yu, saw me and he just invited me to work with him at CryptoQuant, and so that's what I've been doing the last 2 years.
Awesome. Ivo?
Yes, hi guys. Thanks for the invitation, and it's a great pleasure to be here. I'm Ivo Grigorov, co-founder of Credify. Credify is a fintech platform which designs debt financial instruments on chain. My background overall is in banking and finance. I have worked for about 10 years before I entered into the blockchain space. I have extensive knowledge in terms of credit assessment, portfolio valuation, and credit risk assessment. So, yeah, once I got into the blockchain space, I realized that this is probably one of the biggest financial innovations which is to come for in the foreseeable future. So yeah, I've been into the space for the past 6 years now.
Excellent. JD?
Hey guys, pleasure to be here. JD Serafin, founder and CEO of Brainmaker. I think Chris invited me on just because of my cool cowboy hat. I think we met on the street or something. He said, "You want to come on the show?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm in, bro." Anyways, I came into the space in 2017. Like similar to Ivo, I right away felt like this technology had the potential to transform the planet in a way that I think many of us have always dreamed about. Like, I think that we're at a key moment where humanity needs to make an evolutionary leap. And I think it's really about empowering each individual human with the tools to transform the world. And so at Rainmaker, that's our core focus, predominantly through Web3 and decentralized AI technologies, focused on mass adoption use cases, so sports, gaming, entertainment. But yeah, my background before coming into crypto, I was in the entertainment industry for 20 plus years, film, TV, documentaries, finance and, producing. But yeah, now full blown blockchain tech, AI entrepreneur, just, living the dream here in Dubai right now. It's Token 2049. It's been pretty wild. But yeah, grateful to be here with you guys right after the Bitcoin halving.
Sounds
Thank you very
fantastic.
much, everyone. Awesome. So I'll tell you what then, Jay, I'll introduce myself as well, and then you follow suit. So my name's Chris Cravens. I'm the lead fundamental analysis researcher at the Bird Nest. I've been in this industry for just over 4 years. I first came across Bitcoin maybe about 10 years ago when an old flatmate of mine was mining it. I had no idea what it was, but at the time he was mining it, that's when the news event happened that it reached $100, and he sold it all at that point, which I'm sure he's bitterly regretting now. I didn't actually enter crypto properly myself until, in fact, my 4th year anniversary was a couple of weeks ago. It took a mate of mine about half an hour on the phone to convince me to try it because I was heavily involved in the stock market at the time. So I jumped in and I gambled basically because I had no idea about anything about it. And one of the things that my grandpa always told me, who was an investor for over 50 years in various markets, was if you don't know what you're investing in, you're not investing, you're gambling. So I've applied that philosophy throughout my entire adult life. It took me about 10 months of heavy research to finally that pivot moment happened for me with that grasp of understanding about the technology behind not just Bitcoin but blockchain in general. And ever since then, I've been spending as much time as possible researching and learning and furthering my education in this space. And now I'm in a position where I am now, where I'm not just helping people learn how to invest, with informed decisions, but I'm also helping projects grow as well, by making sure that their foundation is robust. So over to you, Jay, mate.
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit at the end there, but I think I caught most of what you were saying, Chris. But yeah, myself, I have been working as a technical analyst for the Bird Nest since 2018, actually, if you can believe that. It's entering my 6th year of doing this. And in the beginning, it was, that the market was a lot smaller. It's changed drastically over the last few years, which is exciting. And because there's a lot of more, opportunities nowadays. And but there's also a lot more filtering that has to be done in terms of investment potentials. So that's something that also I've learned from Chris, is how to sort of like filter through all of the information and apply not only like chart and technical analysis, but also looking at the underlying fundamental aspects of projects before like deploying capital. And we live in a world where meme coins right now are dominating and taking some of the mind share away from the better projects. But at the end of the day, the builders who are here, who are creating something very special, are the ones who are gonna make it long term and add real value to this industry. So before we continue with onto the rest of the stream here today, I think Chris has a kind of a broad question he would like to address to the founders here, regarding Bitcoin and what it means to you, and what it means for the rest of the industry, following this halving, etc.
Absolutely, yeah, certainly. So I think we'll do it in a different order here. So Ivo, could you start? Could you just explain to us, in relation, to how you perceive the impact of what Bitcoin is going to do moving forward in this current cycle that we're in now? When you consider all the macro effects around the world that have happened in the last year or more. We've had the spot ETF in America. We've had the spot ETFs approved in Dubai, in Hong Kong. And there's so many different factors at play, such as political environment as well. So how do you perceive what's going to happen with Bitcoin in particular?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult question, to be honest. There's a lot of aspects which need to be analyzed. I think that what up until now history has shown us is that we do live. We do not live in a separate space, so there is correlation between traditional markets and the overall crypto market. I think we have seen it, and I think that with the approval of ETF and the overall larger interest into the space by traditional, let's say, players such as BlackRock and other investment funds as well, we're gonna be even further integrated. I mean, it's gonna be easier for mass adoption, let's say, but it's gonna be the correlation is gonna become even bigger in the future between, yeah, as I said, traditional markets and us. However, this is not necessarily a bad thing. Also, from regulational perspective, I think people, governments around the world actually realized that this is something which is here to stay, and they have started being more active in the space, trying to actually have a clearer guidelines on everything which is connected to the space. Again, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, decentralization is one aspect to what we're trying to achieve, and giving people freedom, to use their assets and to invest as they wish, without regional restrictions and so on. But at the end of the day, some regulations are needed in order to have the masses, let's say, have them build even further trust into the space and actually enter the space easier. So I think that more and more people are gonna be coming in, and overall, some projects are gonna be suffering because of the, as I said, of the correlation with the traditional space, of the regulations as well. Uh, but I think the best ones will thrive, and the space is gonna explode in the next couple of years.
Thank you very much, Ivo, for that insightful analysis. Over to you, JD, mate.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was reflecting on this a lot over the last few weeks, and for many of us that have been in the space, for a number of years, we've been building towards getting more liquidity, behind the whole ecosystem, right? So when you look at BlackRock and these other major institutions that are pumping billions of dollars into our industry, that's liquidity that can come in to support a whole host of different innovations and projects, right? And so I kind of take it to the place of, what are we going to do with that? Because, like, again, the original philosophy behind why Bitcoin was created was it was about actually bringing empowerment and a new financial system that was better than the old system. Now, I'm not saying it's about destroying the old system. No, what I'm saying is that how do we build tools to actually financially empower people around the world and build those innovations that we all set out and said that we were going to build. And I think a lot of people are working on it. And my thing is like, well, if there's billions of dollars in liquidity that's now come into the space, how are we using that to drive, the next innovations that are reaching the 3 billion people that are still living in hell on earth that don't have access to basic financial services, especially at a time when internet is going to be available across the entire planet. And the other point I would make, just kind of off of Ivo's thought, is like, I definitely think what we're seeing in this cycle is that there's more, it's really being driven by institutional adoption more than the last cycle. Last cycle was a lot more retail, and as we know, like the retail side of things hasn't really come back online because a lot of people got burned, in the last bear market and how things kind of collapsed the way it did with Russia's invasion of Ukraine and everything else. So I don't know exactly. I'm not I think Ivo and other people have probably a better perspective on a more data-driven approach about what's going to happen and how the numbers move. The last thing I would say too, and I've been thinking about this a lot on the meme side, is there's obviously when people are rugging and ripping people off, like that's unacceptable on any level, whether it's a meme project or a project that pretends to be real. But I also think there is something democratic about people coming together and deciding that something is meaningful or worthwhile, and that whole idea I think that you were touching on earlier about a community, right? So from that perspective, we've partaken in some memes. There's one that we're running a quest for on our platform right now called Katamoto. So we have an app where people can basically earn tokens when they participate in training AI. So like right now, one that we're running, they're earning a meme coin as they train AI models in our application. So it's, to me, like there's this funny juxtaposition of like real tech, like decentralized AI, Bitcoin, layer twos, all this amazing, really powerful technology, and then the meme thing. And I think there is something about the magic of people having fun and just believing in something. And not that, again, like I think there's the dark side of that where people are just ripping people off and there's a lot of shenanigans. But there's also a cool side of it. So I don't want to like discount it. But in terms of like the Bitcoin halving and where are we, it's like this really interesting confluence of different forces.
Well, thank you very much, JD. I certainly have a lot of agreement with what you said there, especially about how the spot ETFs will massively increase the influx of capital that comes into blockchain, and that will spread further and help development even more. So, Julio, over to you, mate. And I'm particularly quite interested to hear what you have to say because based on your skill set and experience, you have a direct knowledge of Bitcoin and its impact, I think.
Yes, actually, yes, just to adding up to what JD comment on, especially on the liquidity side, right? What we've seen so far this year is unprecedented demand for Bitcoin. Most of it, or a lot of it, is about because of the ETFs, right? Because of what they've been buying. They've been buying Bitcoin. a lot. And also we can also see on chain other entities, large entities doing this. And just to give you some context about the difference between the cycles, the last cycle was more driven by, I would say, companies. Like, for example, we saw MicroStrategy, we saw other companies buying Bitcoin, and we are following this on chain, right? And so for the past cycle, the monthly increase in buying of Bitcoin of entities, of this type of entities, was around 40,000 Bitcoin a month, right? From different entities. And this cycle with the ETFs, that has grown to 200,000 Bitcoin a month. So that's an unprecedented increase in demand. So demand growth really, this cycle is something that we haven't seen, never seen in this history of Bitcoin. It has slowed down a little bit after, since late March. I think it's normal because of how it grew. But yeah, that's the difference that I see. The biggest difference that I see this cycle from the last cycle, like the really big institutions, that give access to Bitcoin to all of their clients. That's the difference. And so yeah, we've seen that unprecedented demand for Bitcoin, and I think that after the halving, what we've seen is that after the halving, the driver is demand, of course. I mean, we like to say that the halving makes Bitcoin more scarce, and it actually does, right? But it's nothing compared to what the demand side is. The growth in the demand, what that has the effect that it has on prices. So after the halving, I would like to monitor that. Like, okay, is demand still gonna be growing as it did in the first quarter of this year? And so that will definitely be the driver for Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Excellent rundown there, Julio. So since the last halving in 2020, basically the price of Bitcoin, I tweeted about this after the halving took place a few hours ago, but it basically 7x'd. The price at the last halving was around 9K, and now we're at about 64K in this one, which just shows you the tremendous power that this financial asset has. My point is going to lead into Chris's next question here, but it kind of gets you excited about the potential we have in this space over the coming 4 years. Not that per se, exponential pace of growth will be able to be maintained, but every halving so far, the price has, whether it's flattened out for a little while afterwards, it's always gone on to make all-time highs after that point. And usually it doesn't take that many months either.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thank you very much for that, Jay. So leading on to the next part, I'd like to discuss how you guys think that the Bitcoin halving that's just taken place, and obviously all the macro factors that revolve around not just blockchain technology, but what wider market factors. How will this impact your businesses, your projects, moving forward in this next cycle that's coming? That we're now in. Sorry, let's start with Ivo. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I think to be honest, just touching on what JD said previously, like this influx of liquidity will affect quite a few of the projects. I mean, especially projects such as Credify, where we are utilizing liquidity towards financing SMEs from the real world sector. We are designing different financial instruments and financial vehicles which can actually utilize liquidity from the space and bring back the same liquidity with interest, so actually generates even further influx into the system. So personally, I look forward to it. I think that every time there is an interest into, also even just from speculative perspective, when there is an interest into all-time highs of Bitcoin, a lot more people start speaking about it. A lot more people start recognizing the industry as something which they need to take part of. So they allocate part of their, let's say, traditional portfolio would go into crypto overall. So I think of course, it's positive. In the meantime, as Jay said, like it doesn't necessarily mean that it will always do like 9x each time, or things probably are gonna flatten out at some point. But as for now, it's we're expecting new heights everywhere, and yeah, we think that the liquidity will be utilized quite well into the space.
Thank you very much for that, mate. JD, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, again, coming back to my original point, we really see an opportunity for the entire ecosystem to explode together at the same time. We've built a decentralized AI and Web3 network that has 150,000 nodes running in testnet. So, pardon the noise, guys. Sorry, I'm moving around. And I think that with all the potential there is to onboard the next million, the next 5 million, the next 20 million, the next 50 million users, all of the product development we do is focused on how do we create a seamless Web2 like user experience where anyone on the planet can start to use, in this case, the Rainmaker app. They're actually using stuff that's touching real Web3 and decentralized AI infrastructure without needing to be crypto native, without needing to understand how the technology works. They can start to benefit from some of the value. So, and for us, we're kind of focused on how do we build products that can bring the next wave of users and the next wave of mass adoption.
Yeah, I agree, JD. I think there's going to be the mass adoption. I don't think we've even touched the tip of the iceberg of where this is going to lead over the next 4 years, or however long it's going to take for Bitcoin to reach the next halving event. Because as Julio probably will be able to test better than any of us, each halving the difficulty of mining a block increases exponentially. So hash rate has to increase. So Julio, on to you, mate.
Yeah, thanks. So for us, because of our clients are traders and investors or hedge funds, we see a lot of activity when the bull market starts, right? Or when prices move a lot and there's more volatility, because people want to know, want to have access to the data to either for their investment decisions or for managing the risks, which is really important in this industry to manage risk. So yeah, we've seen a pickup of demand of activity in our service because of a lot of people want this data to manage the risk mostly and for investment decisions. That's mostly what we've seen, and what we try to do is give them more data or data that is presented in different forms that gives more insights. On-chain data, it's really noisy. There's a lot of noise on on-chain data, and what we do is try to present that data in a way that is more insightful and gives you more actionable. And we develop more type of data sets that, for example, what I was talking about assessing Bitcoin demand. What's the demand for Bitcoin? Are these entities purchasing Bitcoin, or what's the flow? That's really important to monitor, and that's what we've been working on mostly, into give them more data and also a new ways to analyze that data.
Yeah, thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. I thought I'd add something here as well. As a fundamental researcher, I don't have the technical skill sets of yourself, Julian. I don't use those type of systems, and and Jay here, or otherwise known as Trading Tank, he also leverages technical analysis markets as well. For me, I assess things on a fundamental level. And while I have a largely different opinion about Bitcoin and its future, I certainly agree that mass adoption will take place. But one of the concerns I have regarding Bitcoin is that its original intention was to create a payment system, I suppose, that was meant to compete or replace the system that's already in place with global banking. Unfortunately, as much of a genius as the person or people who wrote the white paper were, they couldn't predict everything. And I think one of the issues that that has come to light with hindsight is block sizes means that Bitcoin cannot scale to demand. So, but there's still a lot of belief out there, across the world that Bitcoin could become this settlement layer to replace institutional finance. I don't believe that at all. I know that we've had like layer twos like Lightning Network, but they're not decentralized. That they're centralized through through watchtowers. So there's always a risk there at some point that that there could be some kind of government grab into the layer two, which could affect the layer one potentially. I mean that's just a hypothesis of mine. But I mean, ultimately, I think demand for Bitcoin will always be there, even though there are superior forms, technologically superior forms out there. I mean, even if you look at Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash, those are technically superior, but they don't have the demand of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the brand now. So one concern I have is just simply that, one day people may realize that Bitcoin is not what they originally thought. And I'm hoping that eventually people come to realize that the opportunity for Bitcoin is not as a payment system, but it's as a commodity that supports the value of currencies out there as an inflationary hedge. And I think that's where it's best value is, and that's certainly what I hope that in the future, if you're looking at governments who are looking to adopt Bitcoin, that's how they implement it. Because if they're using it as a payment system, then there's going to be a lot of challenges in the years to come, when because we barely touched its potential for adoption. So that's my thoughts. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, if I may, I think that you are right in terms of the payment system, that it kind of maybe failed to do it in that manner, but it definitely got recognized as a store of value. It definitely got recognized as you said, a hedge towards different currencies and the inflationary mechanisms there. So I mean, me personally, I view it as an asset, a particular asset class, which, as I said, you can have a store of value into it. It's easily transferable. It's easily traded. It's there's liquidity onto the market, so you can actually, because if you buy, let's say, a brick of gold, you kind of have minimal options of liquidating it in case you need. Let's say cash or other liquid assets. So it is a really good store of value and a great asset which you can basically hold for long periods of time, and in case need be, you can liquidate it easily. So it has all the perfect characteristics of a great, let's say, appreciating asset. And it has a limited resource, let's say.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Absolutely,
said
yeah.
that. I'm glad you said that, Evo. I used to be a really big gold and silver bug. I still am. I still buy silver and love to accumulate over time. But Bitcoin is, I see it as kind of like a gold 2.0, right? It has all the characteristics and more of gold itself. So I want to welcome Adrian right now, who's just joined us in Dubai as well. Welcome, Adrian.
Just walked out of the flood. Just walked out of the flood, my man. Good to see you, everybody. Good to see you, JD. Good to see you, Julio. Good to see you, Evo. We just met each other with Evo. So many legends. Shout out to Chris and Jay who are hosting that. They're incredible hosts anytime. I completely agree on the Bitcoin on the gold to zero, right? We're just having discussion, basically while in Dubai. Dubai obviously is also kind of like gold heavy place. right? It's a very gold heavy place, so they're particularly commit to this digital gold approach for Bitcoin. It just brings the utility, right? And more so, knowing having it's got this utility, knowing it's got this track record that it does, knowing it has the cyclical pattern that it does, knowing that it has this halving cycle that it does, all right? There's actually arrives at certain conclusions, and the conclusions are, well, that for anybody who ever invested in, around the halving time into Bitcoin, into this digital gold, they are not only in profit, they were in very heavy profits for a very long time. They were in 90x profit, for halving to peak performance in 2012, 13. They were for the second halving, 30,000, 3,000%, 30x. That was until 2017 peak. And the next halving was basically May 2020, 700%. So there are big numbers. There are big numbers, and even though gold, for instance, obviously, it's not a best speculation asset. It's not a best speculation asset because its main job is to remain balanced, right? Is to bring the balance to the portfolio managers. It's still, it's still like Bitcoin is a little bit like a gold at steroids in those terms, right? Because when it can work as a hedge, we see often this safe to rally, which is interesting, that people, especially in the countries, with high inflation like Turkey, with Argentina, Venezuela, and so on, when their domestic currency is basically broken, they hedge it with literally Bitcoin. They hedge it with their own cryptos, right? So having this utility side, having the cyclicality side, especially empowered and led by Bitcoin, which is sensitive to the halving cycle, which is sensitive to to M2 money aggregator, which is sensitive to the interest rate, which is still high. We are in a position where the economy is slow, but Bitcoin is already high. That kind of like correlates in such a fashion that you want to see ideally, you want to see the economic cycle and the business cycle and the financial cycle to align and move in the same direction, right? Because and eventually, the financial cycle leads to the economic cycle by 6 or 9 months on average, at times with even more luck that it does. And there are points in time, right, such as the best years like 2020, 2021, like 2016, 2017, when the economic cycle, when the economic conditions, the monetary policy is not really tight. They're easy on the money. The cost of the cost of basically capital is cheap. And at the same time, we are in the bull market, right, at that times. So this is the biggest kind of like a biggest uh, biggest treat that we may get as traders, the biggest treat that we may get as communities, for any builder as well, for any founder in this space. This is where the greatest number of people just keep coming in. This is where the biggest interest is. This is where the biggest mainstream impact is, right? So, having, I'm a number guy, I'm a chart guy. So having the past data, having the past figures, it speaks for itself. Like I said, big numbers. Everybody who bought Bitcoin after rallies, they were in very positive, very big profit for a very long time. They are still in profit. Everybody who bought Bitcoin in the previous halvings is in profit. So there's some winning to the strategy with 100% probability so far. I wouldn't want to bet against those odds. That's one thing. And from the builder project founder perspective, the best kind of like a dream come true situation is, like I said, when the financial cycle aligns with the economic cycle, where both of the cycles persist in one direction and they persist to the upside. The economy expands because the interest rates are low. The monetary supply right there, and so there's a lot of liquidity. And out of this liquidity, this actual powder has been put in to the assets is being given to the reliable projects as well, right? So that we're in a good time. We're in a good time. We're in the uh, I'd say about to witness what we exactly saw in 2021, 2020, through 2021 and 2020, well, before 2022, in the phase where we were in 2016/17, where we were exactly in 2012, 13, that's that's a repetitive pattern. That's what it seems. I wouldn't bet against that. And having legends like yourselves, here in the shows, Ivo, Julian, and JD, this is a good combination.
Guys, you've just heard from Adrian Zdunchik, who is also known as Crypto Burb. If you're not familiar already, I'm sure that the vast majority of you will be. He's one of the biggest influencers on CT or crypto Twitter or crypto X, whatever you want to call it nowadays. I hate the term X, but it is what it is. These are all legends we're with today, founders in the space. So they are definitely the people that you want to hear from. Having said that, I hope that Dubai is treating all of you guys well. The people who are there still currently enjoying all of the events going on, and I know Evo was also there. So hopefully it's been a great time so far. And also a good opportunity to network with other like-minded individuals, founders, builders in the space too. Chris, what do you think? Should we give everybody a chance to go a little bit more in depth on what they're working on?
Right on. Before so the street is getting crowded, so I'll just probably mute myself. I just wanted to say hi to I always see such excellent legends that you guys are. The great work.
Thanks, Adrian. Really appreciate it, mate. Always the alpha. Always the alpha.
I'm the beta. Next to you guys, I'm the beta. I'm the beta at best. Keep on.
I was just going to say, before we dive deeper into your projects, guys, Julia, I've got a question for you, mate. So from a technical perspective, obviously post-halving, rewards are halved, and also that increases the complexity of the Bitcoin itself to mine. This obviously increases the costs and the risk for miners themselves. So what do you think the strategies will be for miners to make sure that they can sustain their current levels?
Yeah, so miners have been preparing for this, for a long time. One way to prepare for this is, to get the cheapest power that you can, right? So miners are on areas where there's abundant electricity, cheap electricity, in order to get their costs, to low enough to sustain this halving, the halving of the block subsidy, right? And so one of the strategies is that, they are in areas with access to really cheap power. That's one thing that they've been doing, for years, especially the big companies, public miners, and other less big miners. But yeah, that's one, electricity, and the other one is the replacement of their ASICs, right? So they're getting more efficient ASICs, more efficient miners that are more powerful, but also at the same time, they consume less electricity per unit of power. So that's the other one. You have to have the most efficient fleet of ASICs. So that's one, electricity. Then your fleet of ASICs. So I think that's how they prepare, right? And also the expectation is that even if they get less Bitcoin per block, right? In terms of US dollars, they're getting even more value. So that's what's actually had happened in the past. We get the halving, miners get less Bitcoin per block, but as prices increase, the value of that reward is even higher, right? So in the meantime, it's a matter of just waiting out with the lowest electricity price cost possible, and the best equipment, right? And operating as efficient as they can.
Do you think developing nations have a major part to play in this? Because of course, when you're looking at price per kilowatt, African nations tend to be a lot cheaper than European and North American. So with this in mind, do you think a lot of blockchain mining organizations will start looking to migrate their facilities over into developing nations to make it more cost effective and profitable for them?
I mean, yes. I mean, this is one of the things is it's a race for getting the cheapest electricity that you can get. So that's one thing that it's in the mind of miners. So they will go to the places where there's abundant electricity and cheap, right? So this is one. But I think and you know, as I mentioned, I was a commodity researcher. I researched a lot of in the aluminum industry. The aluminum industry also consumes a lot of electricity to produce primary aluminum, and you see the same dynamic there as with Bitcoin miners. Where do the plants of aluminum go and being built? Where there's abundant electricity, cheap electricity, and yeah, typically like in developing nations, that's the case. But the other thing to consider is like also the the security of your business in those nations. So it's the climate, the business climate there is not at the same as in the US or in Europe, right? So that's another consideration, and I saw that a lot in the aluminum industry, a lot of projects that make sense economically, but you have to also have some assurances from where you're building this huge project, right? So it's also that consideration, but yes, in general, we've seen that, for example, places that really have both are expanding. Like for example, in the Middle East, like in I think it's in Oman and UAE. They have both like cheap electricity, but also the business climate is it's a good for doing a project as huge as that one. Some other countries like El Salvador also is really can attract those kind of projects. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of potential for those type of countries, but it has to make sense from the cost side of electricity, but also the business, the business security and for the business environment in that country.
I have another.
Thank you very much, mate.
I have another follow-up question for Julio, if that's all right. And you may or may not have data on this, but like everyone right now is bullish about the fact that miners, can only sell at half the rate that they could before. But do you have any stats potentially on how much the miners actually have in reserves? And could that create some sort of overhang over the coming months in terms of liquidations?
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, it's around, miners as a whole, I'm talking about miners as a whole, will have like, excluding like the Satoshi coins, excluding, the early miners, mining companies have around like 100, maybe 100,000 Bitcoin in the reserves, right? What I've seen is that they're holding. Most of these companies they're holding. They're not selling their reserves. They always sell what they mine because they need to pay, for operating expenses. So they are always selling. But the important thing is to monitor is the reserves, right? This is what really gives you some really clear indication of what miners are doing, like what they do with the reserves. And so far we haven't seen that. They're not like selling their reserves. And so I think that, as I said, like they have prepared for this, right? Most of the miners, they know like when the halving is going to happen, and so they have prepared for this in order to wait it out, and they have built like a meaningful amount of reserves, but they are not selling as of now.
Okay, interesting. That's more great insights, and thank you for sharing with us. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much, Julio. So I want to move on to JD, because they've, JD and Ivor have been very kind enough as well to come on board with us today. So JD, we've talked a lot about Bitcoin today, but right now I'd like you to talk about Rainmaker. Obviously we've had some conversations in recent weeks and stuff, and I find what you're building is absolutely fascinating. So I'd like you to share it with everyone else, if that's okay, mate.
Yes, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, mate, I can hear. I know you've been dropping out. I think you're having some connection issues, but yeah, do the best you can, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I'll even see if I can get the camera. Can you guys see me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
see
see
you fine. You're beautiful.
Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, thank you, man. You don't have to give me the compliments. So I am in the stadium here in Karate Comic. I'm just gonna show these guys. So you literally see I'm like. So if you hear a noise, I'm at the karate combat thing in Dubai. So basically, we started the company in 2018, focused on how do you quantify the value of each human's interactions in the digital world, and focused initially on social media. But then about 2 years ago, we pivoted aggressively into AI, and about 6 weeks ago, we launched the latest version of our application, which users are actually training AI models and they're mining cryptocurrency as they're doing that on our application. That application is the first app running on our protocol, which is the Rainmaker Network protocol, again, focused on scalable Web3 and decentralized AI infrastructure for sports, gaming, and entertainment. So we've got NFL teams building on the network. We've got multiple big enterprise partners building products. Hold on a sec. Sorry, guys. It's going to be a little loud. So we've got lots of big partners already building on the network. But the big thing we have happening coming up is the mainnet of our protocol launches next month, along with the token coin token TGE. And we've got, again, the Rainmaker application where users are training AI, they're earning crypto, and they're also running a DPIN validator node right from their smartphone device. So that means anybody with a smartphone on the planet can basically be a part of that decentralized physical infrastructure network that is Rainmaker, that's powering the decentralized AI future that we're all racing into. So yeah, that's kind of high level on Rainmaker and what we're doing, and yeah.
Thank you very much, JD. So anyone who has more interest in Rainmaker, there's been a link for their website dropped into the comments, so feel free to check it out. Ivo, so we've been in conversation for a bit longer. It's been a few months now, and obviously we met personally in Bucharest, which was absolutely amazing. You're a great drinking buddy, mate. So yeah, feel free to share us, Credifi, and how you're using real world assets to build a sustainable economy.
Well, as you said, Credify, we do utilize real-world assets in order to, protect our liquidity providers and lenders in terms of collateral. So our business model from the onset, even before RWA was, coined term, let's say, we have always said that the blockchain industry as a whole needs to start interacting with the real world economy, companies from the real world economy, which are actually generating and being part of GDP. So we have always been very big advocate of projects such as Credify itself, which are actually revenue generating, which there is positive cash flows, and overall, what we do is we utilize liquidity, which people, let's say, want to earn interest on, or which are, let's say, trying to hedge their exposures within the crypto space and get a sustainable and predictable return. Another thing which we specialize in is, debt financial instruments. And right now, probably the most exciting part of Credify, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, is our corporate NFT bonds, which are technically speaking debt instrument. They're structured the same way as bonds which are traded on the New York Stock Exchange, for example, and they're designed for financial institutions to be able to finance and extend their operations. Special thing about this is that you can actually invest into such kind of a bond and still have a collateral from the credit assets of the financial institution. So in case the bond defaults, you will be able to recuperate your funds. And this is a prime example of real world assets. Although with us it's not real estate. We're in the debt segment, so we have a real world asset in the form of the credit portfolios of these financial institutions, which is used as collateral towards your exposure to the bond. So uh, again, such kind of financial instruments, even BlackRock, we have been saying it for quite some time, but I think BlackRock with their tokenization, let's say, views, and the fact that they're also saying that financial instruments are to be transferred on chain, is a great validation of where we're headed.
Thank you very much, Ivo. So, Credify, you're listed currently, the Credi token.
Yeah.
You're on ERC20 and BEP20, if memory serves. So you're listed on both Uniswap and Pancake. Could you just share which centralized exchanges you're currently listed on right now for the viewers?
Yeah, currently we're listed on KuCoin. I mean, we have been listed there since our launch back in 2021. So we're listed on KuCoin, Bitmart, CoinStore, and yeah, there is a surprise, coming in the next couple of weeks as well. But
Fantastic.
yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, people should stay tuned.
Fantastic. Awesome. And JD, so you mentioned earlier that your TGE event is coming up soon. Are you able to share which exchange that'll be listed on yet?
Oh, you guys want me to dish the alpha here first, huh? I like that.
Well, if you're able, only if you're able to, mate.
Chris just goes for the jugular. He wants the exclusive announcement on the Bird Roundtable here. No, we haven't announced it yet, but we will be announcing it soon. I would say right around the end of the month, we'll be announcing the TGE date for May, as well as the listing partners.
Fantastic.
Super excited for that.
What we'll make sure then for you both is that we're going to also list, we're going to put your Twitter account URLs in the comments so that people can follow you both for those announcements when they come out. And for the viewers, I just want to say that if you do have any questions right now, for any member of our audience, or for me or Jay, otherwise known as Trading Tank, then please post a comment on YouTube or Twitter, and we will if we get it in time, we'll ask that question on your behalf. In the meantime, though, for the Bird Nest, so you've got a bit of an insight into what we do. We have technical analyst experts, we have fundamental analyst experts, we have good connections across multiple different areas of cryptocurrency to bring you early access into these exceptional projects. So we also deal a lot more exclusive information and content to our subscribers. To celebrate the Bitcoin halving event, we currently have a 60% off for our subscriptions. So please visit the link in the description, check us out. I am absolutely confident that you will not be disappointed by what you come across. So for example, next week I should be able to update my personal altcoin list for the upcoming bull market. It's always high in demand. I get pestered about it all the time. It's not really pestering, but you know what I mean. So yeah, feel free to check us out. Think of it as an investment in yourself. That's all I'll say. So yeah, sorry, I'm back onto you, Jay, mate.
Yeah, I think we have the co-founder and CEO of Chain4 Energy going to join us shortly. But in the meantime, I actually have another question because Chain4 is also a RWA/DPIN project. But in terms of RWAs, this is obviously a question more for Ivo at the moment. But do you there's been some pushback on RWAs recently. Do you think that's because or due to a fundamental misunderstanding of what they are and how they're actually useful? Or do you see it as a deeper issue where the market is sort of skeptical of permissionless protocols in general? And further to that point, would you see a real possibility that KYC AML requirements would become basically a requirement in the future? Or maybe I'm overthinking this.
Uh, well, again, it is a difficult question. There's quite a few aspects to it, but overall, in my view, is that there is a general misconception of what RWAs are. I mean, RWAs are, it can be any asset in any form, which is actually, from the real world economy, as I said. Like most people are referring to, let's say, real estate, tokenization of real estate, but you can tokenize not only real estate, you can tokenize debt, you can tokenize equity, you can tokenize collectibles. Actually, I saw a very interesting in Dubai, like there is a project tokenizing different collectibles. So, all of these actually not only that you invest indirectly into the asset itself, but you can also, people do not realize, and also quite a few projects are actually working in that direction. We are working in that direction, to be honest, is to utilize these assets, to be interoperable. So you can actually basically, let's say, borrow on the basis of these assets because they're easier to evaluate. There is less volatility. So, for example, if you buy, let's say, and we're working on this, let's say, a tokenized bond or bond which we're, introducing this NFT corporate bonds, you can actually have a store of value there. You invest into the asset, you keep the asset. However, if you need the liquidity, you can just, borrow against it, and it's not going to be over collateralized. You can borrow against, there can be different baskets of such kind of assets. Let's say, you can create a financial instrument which has a real world asset in the form of real estate, in the form of debt. All of these, at the end of the day, can even be designed to represent the indexes and indices. So, there is a bunch of stuff which I mean, they're utilized in traditional finance for quite some time, and they're huge in valuations. And people who, for example, want to diversify, they don't just buy one token or one such kind of asset. They can buy it into different baskets. And I think it's just the beginning. I mean, we're working on this. Uh, Other products are also, starting to recognize the potential there, and I think this is gonna be really huge in terms of investment opportunities. In terms of KYC, KYB, of course, there are some regulatory perspectives. For example, here at Credify, we incorporated in Lithuania for this sole purpose. We have a VASP license. We have a creditor's license as well in Estonia. So all of these are, factors, but I think if you structure it correctly, the users wouldn't have any issues to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like it's already a thing for a lot of um, basically participants in the space. Especially we've seen basically all of the centralized exchanges having to implement it, as well as a number of other protocols. But we have Dominic from Chain4 Energy who's just hopped on with us. Welcome, Dominic. How's it going, man?
Hi, hello. Yeah, it's cool. I'm basically in Token 2049 in Dubai. It's very, I can say very, a lot of things is happening here. So I'm sorry if I've been late. It's my fault. So, but I'm happy to be here.
No, everyone's in Dubai right now. I'm kind of feeling a bit of FOMO for having missed out, but I'm glad to hear, and hopefully it's going well down there for sure.
Yeah. The weather is beautiful. Maybe it wasn't so beautiful like a few days ago, but now it's amazing. It's a lot of very positive vibes all around. Yeah, but I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. How about because everyone's had a chance to kind of run through their project and what they're doing. Would you give us kind of a rundown of Chain4 and how you guys are enjoying this bull market right now?
the bull market, it's as we can see with what's happening right now is very optimistic. The market has changed in a positive way. I think that after yesterday evening, it will be even better. It's visible and it's feelable. Like we are doing our project from the 88 of last bull market, and basically the bear market was strongly used for building. We are the DePIN Cosmos based layer 1 blockchain. We have a bunch of products. One of it is our long term is to build the DePIN platform in Cosmos ecosystem. And short term is basically we have built a bunch of products. One of it is charger. So in DePIN, we want to use the DePIN model to bootstrap EV charging network all around the world, control the quality of the network with the token, and provide also the refund for the EV drivers in case there is some issue. So it's a DePIN model where demand and supply have to be somehow balanced. We are as a project. We basically are very, 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 very close to the listing. It's weeks, not months.
Okay, awesome. So we're looking at potentially a May launch as well for your token.
Yeah, I think that it's a good time for launching. It's something what, if anyone was building in the bear market, was waiting for quite a long time, or even earlier, waiting for a very long time to have this potential of the market. What we have right now.
Well, I think a lot is going to happen in the rest of April and then through May before the summer kind of the summer break kind of hits. So I think right now everyone's kind of rushing to tokenize. You're having a lot of airdrops are happening now between now and the end of May. So it's right now it's really is the window for founders to take that next step and get out there before basically the summer holidays kick off and people aren't paying as much attention to crypto. So it's there's a lot that's going to happen between now and the end of May, in my view.
I think I will add something to this what you say. It's a huge potential for founders and a huge potential for investors also, right? Because it's not only founders who are waiting for this kind of market, but investors especially, I think. And this is visible, and this is very good. It's very optimistic.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for the intro, and we'll look forward to the token release or TGE in hopefully sometime in May.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much, Dominic. I'm glad it's your fault that you were late and not mine, because I put the wrong time on, didn't I, for everyone initially? So I did honestly think it was my fault you were late. So yeah, thanks for that. So Julia, do you have any final thoughts to add for our viewers?
Well, about Bitcoin is I will be monitoring, or I would like to be monitoring the demand for Bitcoin if it picks up, after the halving, because we saw some slowdown after the Q1 unprecedented growth. So that's what I'm looking at. So I just want to say that to the viewers that if you want to be also monitoring that and what's happening on chain, just go to cryptoquant.com, and we also have some discounts because of the halving, 50% discount. So yeah, just monitor the data and do your own research also.
Fantastic. Cheers, mate. And how about you, JD? Any final thoughts or tips, guidance for our viewers? Or have you lost him at the fight? Is he with us?
Okay, we'll come back to him.
we'll come back to him. How about you, Ivo, mate?
Yeah, I just think it's an ideal time to gain some exposure into the space. I think that we're just scratching the surface at the moment. Even with Bitcoin, things are probably gonna have exponential growth in the next couple of years, and people should consider the fact that basically the space is, there's a lot of noise in the space, a lot of projects out there. They should do their research correctly, and I think they should be really trying to, how to say it, focus on projects which are, sustainable and have a sustainable business model.
Absolutely, I completely agree. As a fundamental analysis, that is one of the key factors I always look for. And back to you quickly again, Dominic. Unless JD, are you ready? Can you connect? It doesn't seem like it. Yeah. So back to you, Dominic, mate, for your final thoughts and tips and guidance for everyone.
Yeah, basically you have to do your due intelligence. Just watching what is going on, it's growing. The demand is growing. It's a very good sign. I honestly believe that this bull market will flow. I know that every patterns sometimes break, right? It's you cannot be convinced 100%, but not at this stage. Maybe next to bull runs, it's higher risk. This is my point of view.
Yeah,
Well,
but
thank you very much, Dom.
before we go, we should go through. Where can the listeners follow you guys on Twitter, or what kind of platforms? Maybe YouTube or other places that users are able to kind of follow your work and what you guys are doing. Starting with Ivo.
Credify Finance on X or Twitter. Basically, you can follow us there. All of the updates, as well as the one which I said is a surprise coming in the next weeks, are gonna be shared there. Also, we're very active in Telegram, 24/7 there. So yeah, just type Credify into Google, and I'm sure you will find all of the links there as well.
And you can find the Telegram link, can't you, on your Twitter homepage?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, definitely. So you can ask. Even I'm quite active on the Telegram channel, so you can ask direct questions there as well. It's the easiest way to contact us, as well as Twitter.
Julio?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for inviting me, guys, and the people for joining. And you can follow my analysis on Twitter. That's where I'm mostly active. My handle is JJC Moreno. Moreno as my last name. So JJC Moreno. Thank you.
Perfect. Dominic?
So the chain for energy, this is our handler on X. We are very active here. Basically, we have amazing community. I want to say hello to everyone. We are on Telegram. We are on Discord, like 24/7. Very active community. So please join us. And of course, there is C4E.io. There is all links. C4E.io. This is our website. So there is all links to every social that we have.
Okay, and I see that the JD has dipped out, but if you want to follow Rainmaker, just also same thing as Credify. You Google, and they'll be one of the first results that come up, and also look for them on Twitter as well. And I see JD has popped back in. Are you with us, JD?
I think you might be having connections issues, possibly. So I'll tell you what then, I'll dive in and I'll give some alpha for people, and it's a really cheeky piece of alpha. But in my opinion, one of the best ways to help yourself is to join the Bird Nest. Because we have technical analysts. So if you're interested in day trading, intraday trading, forex markets, legacy markets, we have you covered. If you're a long-term investor, then I'm on board for that very purpose. If I'm available to answer any questions, I'll help you when it comes to your research methodology. I'll help you understand the critical factors where it comes to identifying the good projects from the bad and filtering them out. So me and Jay also take part heavily in airdrop campaigns, and we share our alpha and our step-by-step guides to how to achieve an airdrop. We've done exceptionally well in 2024 already, and there's still more to come. Also, I hunt for the best passive income opportunities, and I don't just look at those that offer like 2,000% APR. I look at those that have sustainability. That are audited for security. Though there's no guarantee with audits that they are secure, but it's better than nothing for sure. So I hunt for the passive income opportunities, and I provide them to you as well in our community. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm actively updating my personal altcoin pick list for the upcoming bull market. Although we are technically in a bull market, but we're not in that let's say FOMO phase yet. So that's going to be really useful for everyone. So yeah, feel free to join us, check us out. And I believe you'll be massively impressed with yourself for your investment decision. So, JD, have we got a chance to get you in for a final word, mate, or are we going to sign off?
Can you guys hear me?
Aha! Woohoo! There he is.
Yeah, it's getting a little louder. What did you say? I couldn't hear you there, Jay.
I said, have you got any final words for our viewers, mate, that you can share? Any tips of wisdom?
Any tips or wisdom on what?
Anything to do with crypto, mate. It could be even investing in you.
Oh, I mean, look, I think, well, of course, when our token comes out, we would love for people to believe in the project and support us. And obviously, right now, you can go on the Rainmaker app and you can earn crypto today for training AI models in the application. I mean, that's everything from Bitcoin, Ethereum. Right now, there's a really cool meme coin, like I mentioned earlier, Katamoto, that just launched. It's actually the first meme on BNB chain that we're running a quest for. So what's cool about what we're doing is we're like a gateway for ordinary people who have never experienced crypto to be able to come on, earn their first taste of crypto without having to necessarily take any risk, and be able to be on that blockchain decentralized AI infrastructure of the future without needing any technical skills or knowledge. I mean, that's what we're offering that's unique. I mean, of course, when the token launches next month, there's going to be an opportunity for those that come in at the right time and get in early. But I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, the most important thing to remember is this.
Oh, and just as he's about to give the ultimate alpha as well. Oh dear, JD. he's left you wanting more, hasn't he, guys? I'll tell you what then, Jay. Then why don't you share your pearls of wisdom for the viewers before we sign off?
Yeah. So, like we discussed earlier, we're in a market right now that is favoring, it's favoring the meme coins a lot, but those are every cycle we go through, there's going to be different coins that pump, whether or not they're based on fundamentals or not. And a lot of these, there is a real case to be made for meme coins in that they're built on community, which ultimately is what ends up driving price. But at the end of the day, we've been talking with some of these founders today, who are actually building something real and tangible, like in the RWA and deep in space in particular, and these are the sort of projects, in my view, that have the potential to become, not just, good cycle investments, but good longer term investments, not financial advice, obviously, but these are projects that we personally in the Bird Nest have vetted. And we work closely with the teams, and we could vouch for what they're doing here. And if
Can you guys hear me?
There's JD.
Sorry, I got cut off there. And just to finish the thought, and I heard what you were saying. It's for us, like, how do we onboard the next wave of real users into this ecosystem. And like to your point, it's actually people like, you know, the guys on the show and myself that are building real products that the next, you know, million, the next 10 million, the next 100 million users can actually come in and know that they're going to be on infrastructure that's going to be there, you know, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. So
awesome. Thanks for that additional insight, JD. And yeah, I had more or less completed my point there. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any final points or questions or you know, anything else, but I think it's been a great you know, time today to be able to talk to you all. And yeah, very, very grateful to be able to surround myself with such experts and people with a lot more technical knowledge than myself as well.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, guys, and for the invitation to join this roundtable. It was a real pleasure to speak with all of you, and yeah, thanks once again.
yes, thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you for the invitation.
I also would like to
Absolute
thank
pleasure, everyone. Absolute pleasure. And thank you very much for all your alpha guys. And I hope the viewers have found it useful as well. As well, they should have done, because if they haven't, they don't belong in the industry. So, right, everyone, you take care of yourselves. And yeah, and we'll see you on the next time.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend, guys.
All the best, guys.
all the best. Bye.